abcnews, agtlive.
Hello there, I believe I'm quite audible to all of the guys now here. Welcome to the special show on Mars and the possibilities of life in Mars. Since today is Sunday, I've decided to just bring a light to these possibilities of life on Mars. It's a really very interesting chapter for me and of course for all of you. NASA claims to discover the organic molecules on Mars, and space station has also corroborated the possibilities of such findings. NASA's Curiosity rover has found new evidence preserved in rocks on Mars that suggests the planet could have supported ancient life, as well as new evidence in the Martian atmosphere that relates to the search for current life on the red planet. Dear viewers, actually in front of me I have another camera which is being recorded now. So I will just focus my face towards that main camera. That's the reason rather, so I'm looking there straight to me, so please don't mind. The Martian atmosphere that relates to the search for current life on the red planet, and while not necessarily evidence of life itself, these findings are a good sign for future mission exploring the planet's surface and subsurface. The new findings, tough organic molecules in 3 billion year old sedimentary rocks near the surface, as well as the seasonal variations in the levels of methane in the atmosphere, appear in the June 8 edition of the journal. That organic molecules contain carbon and hydrogen, and also may include oxygen, nitrogen, and other elements. While they're commonly associated with life, organic molecules also can be created by non-biological processes and are not necessarily indicators of life. Quote unquote, with these new findings, Mars is telling us to stay the course and keep searching for evidence of life. And said Thomas Jarbison, Associate Administrator for the Science Mission Director at the NASA headquarters in Washington. Quote unquote, I would say, I'm confident that our ongoing and planned missions will unlock even more breathtaking discoveries on the red planet. The Curiosity has not determined the source of the organic molecules when Agent Broad of NASA's Goddard Space Flight Center in the Greenbelt, Maryland, who is the lead author of one of the 2 new science papers, whether it holds a record of ancient life as food for life or has existed in the absence of life, and organic matter in Martian material holds chemical clues to planetary conditions and processes. Although the surface of Mars is inhospitable today, and there is a clear evidence that in the distant past the Martian climate allowed liquid water, an essential ingredient for life as we know it, and to pull at the surface the data from Curiosity revealed that billions of years ago a water lake inside a Gale crater held all the ingredients necessary for life, and including chemical and building blocks and energy sources. The Martian surface is exposed to radiation from space, and both radiation and harsh chemicals break down organic matter, and said Agent Broad, and finding ancient organic molecules in the top 5 centimeters of rock that was deposited, and while the Mars may have been habitable. And about as well for us to learn the story of organic molecules on Mars with the future missions that will drill deeper. You see, if I talk about something seasonal methane releases, in the second paper scientists describe the discovery of seasonal variations in methane in the Martian atmosphere over the course of nearly 3 Mars years, and which is almost 6 years. This variation was detected by Curiosity's sample analysis at Mars, that is SAM, instrument suit. And water rocks chemistry might have generated the methane, but scientists cannot rule out the possibility of biological origins. Methane previously had been detected in Mars atmosphere in large and unpredictable plumes. This new result shows that the low levels of methane within Gale crater repeatedly peak in warm and summer months and drop in the winter every year. This is the first time we have seen something repeatable in the methane story, so it offers us a handling understanding it, said Chris Webster of NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, JPL, in Pasadena, and California. And lead author of the second paper, this is all possible because of Curiosity's longevity. The long duration has allowed us to see the patterns in this seasonal breathing and finding organic molecules to identify organic materials in the Martian soil. Curiosity drilled into sedimentary rocks known as mudstone from 4 areas in the Gale crater. These mudstone gradually formed billions of years ago from silt that have accumulated at the bottom of the ancient lake. The rock samples were analyzed by Sam, and which we use as an oven to heat the samples at in excess of 900 degrees of Fahrenheit or 500 degrees Celsius to release organic molecules from the powdered rock. Sam measured small organic molecules that came off the mudstone samples and fragments of larger organic molecules that don't evaporize easily, and some of these fragments contain sulfur, which could have helped to preserve them in the same way the sulfur is used to make the current tires more durable, according to Agent Broad. The results may also indicate organic carbon the concentrations on the order of the 10% or more than this is close to the amount observed in the Martian meteorites and about 100 times greater than the prior detections of organic carbon on Mars surface. Some of the molecules were identified includes the typhenes and the benzene and toluene and the small carbon chains and such as propane or butane. In 2013, Sam detected some organic molecules containing chlorine in rockets at the deepest point in the crater. This new discovery builds on an inventory of the molecules detected in the ancient lake sediments on Mars, and it helps to explain why they were preserved. Finding methane in the atmosphere and ancient carbon preserved on the surface gives the scientists confidence that NASA's Mars 2020 rover and the ESA's, that is the European Space Agency's ExoMars rover, will find even more organics both on the surface and in the shallow subsurface. These results also inform scientists' decisions as they work to find answers to questions and concerning the possibilities of life on Mars. Are there signs of life on Mars? Said Michael Mayer, a lead scientist for NASA's Mars exploration program at NASA's headquarters. And we as he said, we don't know about these results will tell us that we are on the right track. If I continue in this journey of life on Mars, I would say this work was funded by NASA's Mars exploration program for the agency's Science Mission Directorate (SMD) in Washington, and it provided the SAM instrument. JPL built the rover and manages the project for SMD. Curiosity tested percussive drilling this past weekend and penetrating about 2 inches, that is 50 millimeters, into a target called Dallas. NASA Jet Propulsion Laboratory in Pasadena, California, has even tasted this drilling technique since a mechanical problem took Curiosity to drill offline in December of 2016. This technique, called feed extended drilling, and it keeps the drills being extended out past to stabilizer posts that were originally used to steady the drill against the Martian rocks. It lets Curiosity drill using the force of its robotic arm. A little more like the way a human would drill into a wall at home. The team used tremendous ingenuity to devise a new drilling technique and implement it on another planet, said the Curiosity Deputy Project Manager Steve Lee of JPL. As quote-unquote, those are 2 vital inches of innovations from 60 million miles away, and we are thrilled that the result was so successful. Drilling is a vital, important part of Curiosity's capability to study Mars. Inside the rover are 2 laboratories that are able to conduct chemical and mineralogical analysis of rock and soil samples. The samples are accurate from the Gale crater, which the rover has been exploring since 2012. Curiosity's science team has been eager to get a drill working before the rover leaves its current location near Very Robin Ridge. Fortunately, it is near enough to drill targets like Dallas to drive back down the ridge. Scientists drill the sample represents a quick taste of the region before Curiosity moves on. A close-up image of a 2-inch deep hole produced using a drilling technique for NASA's Curiosity rover. The hole is about 0.6 inches across, that means 1.6 centimeters. This image was taken by Curiosity Mast camera. This is a Mast cam on Seoul 2057. It has been white balanced and contrast enhanced, demonstrating that Curiosity's percussive drilling technique is a milestone in itself. But that doesn't mean the work is over for engineers at JPL. We've been developing this new drilling technique for over a year, but our job isn't done once a sample has been collected on Mars, and said JPL's Tom Green, a system engineer who helped develop and test Curiosity's new drilling method. With each new test, we closely examine the data to look for improvements. So likely things going on as we say, and we can make and then head back to our test bed to iterate on the process. And there's also the next step to work on, and delivering the rock sample from the drill bit to the two laboratories inside the rover. And having captured enough power inside the drill, engineers will now use the rover's camera to estimate how much trickles out while running the drill backwards. The drill's percussion mechanism is also used to tap out powder. As soon as this Friday, the Curiosity team will test a new process for delivering samples into the rover's laboratories. NASA's Curiosity Mars rover has found organic molecules on Mars, the space agency revealed in a major announcement Thursday. During a press conference at NASA's Goddard Space Flight Center in Goddard and NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory in Pasadena, California, scientists noted that the molecules provide fresh insight into the red planet. I repeat, fresh insight into the red planet. So I don't know what you mean about, but I think you should be very serious about it. I think you should also feel a little bit of happy and overjoyed, because mission Mars is going to be successful. Don't you dream to go to Mars? I believe if you could live in this planet maybe 20 more years, so it is possible that you also could dream to go on a Mars trip. All right, so we found organic molecules in rocks from an ancient lake bed, and explained Jan Agenberg and research scientists at Goddard. A variety of molecules were identified, she added. The rocks are billions of years old, according to NASA. Here you see, while NASA was at pains to explain that it has not discovered life on Mars, the organic molecules could provide vital clues. Organic compounds are fundamental to our search for life, said Paul Mahaffey, director of the Solar System Exploration Division at Goddard. As astronaut Scott Kelly reveals, the main obstacle for future Mars trips, as he describes, as the most technologically advanced rover ever built. The Curiosity launched on November 26, 2011. The rover landed on Mars Gale crater on August 6, 2012. And that also with the goal of determining whether Mars was able to support microbial life. Agenberg explained that the organic molecules found on Mars are not a specific evidence of life. They could have come from things that are non-biological, as she said. As what SpaceX Falcon Heavy launcher aerospace explorers were heralds and new era of exploration says about it. And nonetheless, the molecules could provide a vital guide for scientists in their search for life on Mars. And all life that we know of is based on organic the molecules, and Agenberg explained. And there's a whole suite of chemicals and the physical things that we could measure to find signatures of life. The rover has already delivered some important scientific results in 2013. For example, analysis of rock samples collected by the vehicles showed that ancient Mars could have supported living microbes. In 2014, the rover measured a tenfold spike in methane, an organic chemical in the atmosphere around it. And at that time, the robotic laboratory also detected other organic molecules in a rock powder as samples collected by its drill. The Curiosity rover is providing additional details of Mars's methane, and scientists confirmed Thursday the rover has identified a repeatable, identifiable pattern in the methane measurement, said Chris Webster, and a senior research fellow at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory. This, he explained, could be key to unlocking the mysteries associated with Mars methane. Space.com reports that Curiosity recently began drilling on the Martian surface for the first time in 18 months. And Chris Carberry, Executive Director of Explore Mars, a non-profit organization that aims to advance the goal of sending humans to Mars within the next 2 decades, said that Thursday's announcement from NASA is exciting. And while the discovery of Martian organics, specifically methane, doesn't confirm life, it is yet another major piece of evidence that Mars may sustain microbial life. He told us, and even if this methane is not directly a product of life, it could be indicative of a subsurface environment suitable for life as water interacts with minerals on Mars. Right, so NASA and other nations will be staging robotic missions over the next few years, looking for evidence of past and present life. But these efforts should be increased so that we can confirm whether life exists on other planets, but also so that we can prepare before us and send humans to the surface of Mars. Mars looms ever larger in the American space future. On May 5, NASA launched Inside Mars lander on a 7-month journey into the Red Planet. The mission, which is managed by NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, will provide scientists with a wealth of data. And NASA's long-term goal is to send a manned mission to Mars in the year 2030s. And however, former astronaut Buzz Aldrin thinks that a slightly later target date of 2040 is more realistic. In an interview in 2016, the Gemini 12 and Apollo 11 astronaut told the world that by 2040, astronauts could have visited Mars moon phases, which could serve as a sort of stepping stone to the Red Planet. So heat shield for NASA's Mars 2020 rover cracks during tests. Other NASA's missions to Mars were also planned, and although the heat shield of the agency's 2020 Mars rover recently cracked during tests, and officials say that the incident won't affect the mission's 2020 launch date, according to Space.com. The 6-wheeled robot is expected to arrive on Mars in 2021. And earlier this year, NASA announced a project to build robotic beasts capable of flying on Mars. NASA's Mars Renaissance orbiter also celebrated 12 years of the Red Planet this year. This is a big milestone, rather, I believe so. And the private space company SpaceX is also working to reach Mars. And speaking at a South by Southwest Festival earlier this year, SpaceX CEO Elon Musk said that he expects to see a test flight of the firm's Mars spacecraft by next year. That's all for now on Mars and the probabilities of life on Mars. And I would like to acknowledge my humble gratitude to Google and YouTube for providing such incredible data time to time. Thank you all. Have a good time. Namaskar and Kulumka.
This age, abcnews, agtlive.
Hello there, I believe I'm quite audible to all of the guys now here. Welcome to the special show on Mars and the possibilities of life in Mars. Since today is Sunday, I've decided to just bring a light to this possibilities of life on Mars. It's a really very interesting chapter for me and of course for all of you. NASA claims to discover the organic molecules in Mars, and space station has also corroborated the possibilities of such findings. NASA's Curiosity rover has found new evidence preserved in rocks on Mars that suggests the planet could have supported ancient life, as well as new evidence in the Martian atmosphere that relates to the search for current life on the Red Planet. Dear viewers, actually in front of me I have another camera which is being recorded now. So I will just focus my face towards that main camera. That's the reason rather, so I'm looking there straight to me, so please don't mind. The Martian atmosphere that relates to the search for current life on the Red Planet, and while not necessarily evidence of life itself, these findings are a good sign for future mission exploring the planet's surface and subsurface. The new findings tough organic molecules in 3 billion year old sedimentary rocks near the surface, as well as the seasonal variations in the levels of methane in the atmosphere appear in the June 8 edition of the journal. That organic molecules contain carbon and hydrogen, and also may include oxygen, nitrogen, and other elements. While they're commonly associated with life, organic molecules they also can be created by non-biological processes and are not necessarily indicators of life. Quote unquote, with these new findings, Mars is telling us to stay the course and keep searching for evidence of life. And said Thomas Jarbachan, Associate Administrator for the Science Mission Director at the NASA headquarters in Washington. Quote unquote, I would say, I'm confident that our ongoing and planned missions will unlock even more breathtaking discoveries on the red planet. The curiosity has not determined the source of the organic molecules when Agent Broad of NASA's Goddard Space Flight Center in the Greenbelt, Maryland, who is the lead author of one of the 2 new science papers, whether it holds a record of ancient life as food for life or has existed in the absence of life, and organic matter in Martian material holds chemical clues to planetary conditions and processes. Although the surface of Mars is inhospitable today, and there is a clear evidence that in the distant past the Martian climate allowed liquid water, an essential ingredient for life as we know it, and to pull at the surface data from curiosity reveal that billions of years ago a water lake inside a Gale crater held all the ingredients necessary for life, and including chemical and building blocks and energy sources. The Martian surface is exposed to radiation from space, and both radiation and harsh chemicals break down organic matter. And said Agent Broad, and finding ancient organic molecules in the top 5 centimeters of the rock that was deposited, and while the Mars may have been habitable. And about as well for us to learn the story of organic molecules on Mars with the future missions that will drill deeper. You see, if I talk about something seasonal methane releases, in the second paper, scientists describe the discovery of seasonal variations in methane in the Martian atmosphere over the course of nearly 3 Mars years, and which is almost 6 years. This variation was detected by Curiosity's sample analysis at Mars, that is SAM, instrument suit. And water rocks chemistry might have generated the methane, but scientists cannot rule out the possibility of biological origins. Methane previously had been detected in Mars atmosphere in large and unpredictable plumes. This new result shows that the low levels of methane within Gale crater repeatedly peak in warm and summer months and drop in the winter every year. This is the first time we have seen something repeatable in the methane story, so it offers us a handling and understanding it, said Chris Webster of NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, JPL, in Pasadena, and California. And lead author of the second paper, this is all possible because of Curiosity's longevity. The long duration has allowed us to see the patterns in these seasons